Hello guys, this is Ishwar Sai Marti Prasad from Factsite YouTube channel, and as every time today also I have brought a marvelous and a mind-blowing topic in a historic way. That is the history of pandemics and epidemics in the whole world. Then let's dive into our video. But wait guys, before entering into our topic, we'll first discuss about its introduction. Then let's dive into our introduction. Although the world has witnessed widespread of illnesses and virus outbreak in past so many centuries, including the SARS outbreak between 2002 to 2004, statistics show that since the 1990s, there were nowhere as widespread as the COVID-19. That means since 1990s, there were no widespread such as COVID-19 that has now reached amongst every part of the country and almost every country in the world. The World Health Organization has declared COVID-19 outbreak to be a pandemic. And that is the reason why we should know about the history of pandemics and epidemics in India and in other countries. Before entering into our topic, let us discuss about some definitions. First, outbreak, a sudden rise in cases of a disease or a virus in a popular place. Number 2, epidemic, a large outbreak, one that spreads among a population or region. The current outbreak of a flu-like illness caused by a new virus in China is considered as an epidemic. Number 3, a pandemic. Generally, it refers to an epidemic that has spread on a more global scale, affecting large number of people. Pandemic word comes from the Greek, in which pan means all and demos means people or population, in which totally pandemos means all the people. That means pandemic affects nearly all the people. Now coming to epidemic, in which the epi means upon, which is a Greek word. That means epidemic visits upon the people. COVID-19. Yeah guys, that familiar name which we are reading in the newspapers, seeing in the news channels. The COVID-19. The definition of COVID-19. Here we go. Name given to the illness caused by the new coronavirus, first identified in China in December 2019. Guys, for your information, I would like to say that there are so many types of coronaviruses, in which the first type of coronavirus was identified in China on 2003, which was named as SARS-CoV-1, and the another second type of coronavirus was identified on December 2019, which is the recent coronavirus by which the whole world is suffering, and its official name, which is designed by WHO, is named as SARS-CoV-2. And the full form of COVID-19 is CO means corona, VI means virus, D means disease, and 19 means the year which was identified, that is 2019. The virus itself has its full meaning. Number 6, SARS-CoV-2. Guys, the full form of SARS-CoV-2 is severe acute respiratory syndrome. Guys, I know that I have mentioned these all definitions in my another video titled The Vocabulary of Coronavirus, which is the episode 3 of Corona Update. You can click it in the I button and watch that video. After listening all these, we may get it out that who decides that the disease is a pandemic or epidemic. Declaring a pandemic has nothing to do with the changes of the properties of the disease potency and the deadlines, but it is associated with the concerns over its geographical spread. All pandemics start with an outbreak of a new disease in a specific geographical location. If that outbreak becomes larger but still remains confined to the specific region, it becomes an epidemic. At the point the WHO declares the public health emergency of international concern to the raise awareness about it, then it becomes pandemic. Pandemic has self-sustaining lines of infection. It can spread in healthy state without any assistance. There is no threshold such as certain number of deaths or infections or number of countries affected that needs to be met. Ultimately, the WHO gets the final say in declaring a pandemic or epidemic. Guys, now let's discuss about the phases that disease goes through into a pandemic. Based on the influenza outbreak in 1999, the WHO designed a pandemic preparedness plan. It also specifies infection prevention plans and certain precautions that must be followed in appropriate responses based on six main outlined phases. Phases 1, 2, and 3 are designed in order to help the public health officials know that it is the time to develop the action plans and tools to implementing the threat, while phases of 4, 5, and 6 are the other action plans which are about to be implemented in coordination with WHO. WHO keeps track of all identified diseases which are based on animals and which are based on through a set of phases or stages. Now let's discuss about those phases which were designed by the WHO. Phase 1. Viruses circulating within the animals only. No human infection has resulted from the animal virus. Phase 1. Animal virus has caused an infection in a human being. There is a basic level of pandemic threat as the virus strain has been mutated to make that transfer to a human. Phase 3. Small clusters of human beings have contracted the virus in one community. There is a potential for spread of virus. At this point, the illness may be epidemic in that community, but it is not a pandemic. Phase 4. Human to human and animal to human virus transmissions are causing outbreaks in many communities. Phase 5. Human to human transmissions is taking place in at least 2 countries in one WHO region. Most countries are not affected yet, but a pandemic is considered imminent. This phase signals the health officials and the government to be ready to implement the pandemic mitigation plan. Phase 6. Global pandemic is underway. Illness and widespread is in a huge amount. Officials are actively working to contain the widespread of that disease. Now let's discuss about another external post-pandemic phase, that is after increase of that disease spreading activity begins to wave. That means that pandemic begins to slow down after a moment. That exact moment is called as post-pandemic phase. After increasing and the decreasing of that pandemic, there may be another moment when it may be increased. So that we should be aware even though the pandemic has decreased, so that we should be taking serious actions and serious precautions even though the pandemic has decreased. Spanish flu is the example of such case. Yeah guys, it had a second wave which was very hazardous. That means the first wave will be slightly coming and the second wave will be so much hazardous that we can't bear it and there will be so much of human loss. That's what happened with the Spanish flu, by which so much of human loss happened. Guys, generally pandemics became more common as humans became more civilized. Although India may have been witnessed widespread illnesses and virus outbreaks in part of our country, among all the reasons, mass travel has contributed to the rapid and more frequent spread of viruses and outbreaks around the world. Many Indian citizens born at the start of 21st century have not fully witnessed or experienced the mass outbreak of epidemics in the country, and for many the challenges brought by the rapid spread of COVID-19 is unknown territory. This is not to say, however, that as a nation, India is completely unfamiliar with dealing with these pandemics and public health crises. Some with exceptional success, with results as to know about history of pandemics and epidemics in India and in other countries.